Hi, this is PD at BurgZerg Arcade at BurgZergArcade.com, and this is tutorial 188. Now, where we left off in our last tutorial, if we just go ahead and open it up, we just added the code to be able to load up our character's hair, or at least the mesh part. And I went over a couple ways that we could actually use this, where we could actually import some sort of reference to our character mesh that we actually want to add the hair to, or we could export the actual string here that's being generated to have another class actually load this up. But in the end, I decided to actually have the hair be responsible for actually adding the hair to the mesh. And the easiest way to probably do this would be to come up to the top of our player model customization class. And right here is where we're holding the reference to our current active mesh. What I'm going to do is make this public. And I'm also going to make it static so I can reference it outside of this class without having to get a reference to this class. And we're only ever going to want to have one mesh loaded up at one time. So we might as well just go ahead and make it static. And that way down here, I can actually call that character mesh that we're going to have loaded and do whatever I want to it. So let's start off. We're just going to come down here and we're just going to do a quick test to see if we actually have that mesh loaded up. So I'm going to throw out a debug log, and what I'm going to want to do is say player model customization dot, and I'm actually going to go change that name now since I have made it public and static. I'm going to come in and refactor it, and I'm just going to get rid of that slash before. I'll hit OK, and it'll go through in this script and change anything. Now, I don't believe, since it was private, I'm pretty sure I wasn't using it in any other class. But what I'm going to do is come down here and try to debug log it out now. So it's called character mesh, and I'm just going to get the name of the mesh just to pull it out to make sure that I'm actually getting a reference to that mesh, and I should. I can't see a reason why I wouldn't be, but let's just make sure. So I hit the button and fat clone. Let's do a sex change. I'm going to hit clear, and if we try to change the hair again, hot cube. So I'm getting it. So now what are we going to do with it? Well, we got our hairstyle here. We're calling resources load to load it up. What I'm going to want to do now is actually just instantiate it. So I'm going to say instantiate the resources.load. So this here is what we want to instantiate. And I'm not going to worry about its position and its rotation right now. I just actually want to start instantiating it. So let's save that off. We'll come back into Unity and have an error. Does not exist in the current context. I'm using Unity Engine. Whoops. It might be because I'm not inheriting from model behavior. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure I can still get to it by using object.instantiate. So I'll save that off. Let's check the error. The error is gone. And when I start it up, I'm just going to look to see if a hair pops up here. So we start it up, hit the hair, boom, there we go. Hair 1, 2. That's good. Now let's actually start moving the hair to where we want it to be. So we're going to say hairstyle dot transform dot parent is equal to, now we're going to want to get that mount point for our hair. So we can actually call our player model customization dot character mesh dot get component. This is going to be long. What we want to get is our player character script, and we want the hair mount. There we go. And that'll actually get us the game object. What we want is the transform. So that should parent it for us. It's not going to position it right for us, but that's okay. We'll come back to that. Let's come out to Unity. There's no errors. So let's start it up, and when we pick our first hair now. It should actually appear in the right spot. So let's just open up character mount. I'm just going to go straight to the hair mount. And it didn't go there. Let me just shrink this up. I did not see a hair. Let me just quickly check our code again. So we're setting this transform parent to be the hair mount's transform. Here's the hair mount. Okay, so it actually was adding. I guess I just missed it. Let's just try it over again. And we'll click on the hair thing. And if I go to the hair mount, I see. When it was selected, when you select it over here, it puts that yellow box or rounded corner rectangle around it, and it was just hard to see. So this is it, but we notice that the position's way off. If we zero it out, it puts it there for us. And let's just zoom in a bit. Actually, if we just click it and hit F, that'll bring us in. So there it is. And if we zero everything out, it seems to look fine for the position. So let's add that step next. We'll come in and we'll just say hairstyle, not hair set. Hairstyle.transform .position. Actually, instead of doing that up there, well, yeah, let's just do it down here because we're going to be adding an offset to it after, and we can do that here. I was going to do it up here where we're actually instantiating it, but we'll just do it down here. I'm going to set this equal to a vector 3.0. And we'll save that off. And I like to test after each line for the tutorials just so it's easier for people to debug. So now when we start it up, we're getting a hair. It doesn't seem to be going in the right spot again. So let me just check this out. So we'll select the hair. We'll go down. Here's the hair. And it's because I'm setting its global position. What we actually want is not position, but local position. So let's try that. So we'll go ahead, we'll start it up, and there we go. Easy mistake. And this one actually looks pretty good. Some of them I notice around the sideburns area are not even on both sides. But this one looks fine. It does seem to have a little bit of poking through up here. But to be honest, I'm fine with that. Maybe a little bit more scale on the X. But let's go ahead and take a look at the others. Now it just keeps adding them to it. So we're going to want something to get rid of that. So before we actually create a new one, so let me see. Let me comment out these debug lines. I'm also going to put them together. And I'm just going to go down here. I guess it'd be logical to do it up here. So we're going to check the how many hairs we actually have loaded already under our character mount, and we're just going to delete them. We've done this several times before. So we'll just say if player model customization dot character mesh dot get component, and I guess we should save this out to a variable just so it's shorter. We don't have to keep typing it out. We don't have to keep trying to get a reference to it. So I'll do that after I'm done typing it out this time. And what we want to get is the hair mount. So just let me hit enter here so it's on its own line. Then I'm going to take it, put it up here, and I'm just going to call this game object. And I'm just going to call it mount. And I'm going to make it equal to that. So now I can just come down here and say if mount dot, and I believe it was just child count. Oh, we're going to need to get to the transform dot child count. Yes, it's greater than 0. So if we have at least one hair already loaded, delete it. And there should only ever be one loaded. So I'm just going to say destroy, maybe. And if instantiate didn't work, I'm pretty sure destroy isn't going to. So I'm just going to say object.destroy. And then the object we want to destroy, which will be the first child under here. So we'll say mount dot transform, maybe, dot get child. And this wanted an index, so I'm just going to pass in 0 because there should only be one. And that should destroy it. Actually, that's grabbing the transform. Remember, you can only destroy the game object, so just make sure we add the dot game object to it. And that should be everything we need. So let's go ahead and try this. There was no errors. And I'm apparently in a little too close. Okay, let's just start going. So everything looks good here. I'm trying to select a hair. Not sure what I'm clicking on, but apparently it's not a hair. That's fine. I'll just grab the fat person, grab his hair, and I just want to open this up, make sure there's only one in it. And there is. And of course, if we keep going through, it gets rid of the old one. Now, at some point, we're going to want to check to make sure that we're not leaving all these meshes just floating around in memory. And they all seem to be fitting fine. I'm sure I'm going to find one that could use adjustments. Let's just keep going through until we find the one that's really skewed. This one here looks to be a little skewed. Just click off of it. We have that little line up here. There's got to be a better example. Let's just keep going. I like that view better. Here we go. Here's one. Which one is this? It's bizarre. I can't click on the hair. I can't seem to click on, whoops, anything. Yeah, this one really needs some adjustments on it. I just want to know which one it is before I actually try to do any adjustments. And that will probably be in our next tutorial. But let me just take a look here. So this is the hair 12. So let me go back to the 11s and see how they looked. They're okay. There is going to be a little bit of finessing that I want to do because I probably will get rid of these little spots where the scalp pokes through. Whoops. But the 12 has definitely needed some adjustment. And I'll start with those. So let's stop Unity. And I'll see you in the next tutorial where we'll play around with our offsets. Bye-bye.